All right, socks. The most tactical part of our gear that everybody loves to talk about. Well, when I put everything on the table, I noticed that it's actually on the packaging. It is industrial, professional, tactical. There we go. Didn't know that? We don't know now. My goal of this channel is eventually have all the gear that I'm using nicely categorized on my website. So that means I need to make videos about everything that I wear. And one of the important things that I wear on my feet is socks. And a lot of people don't think about it, but socks is a really important part to keep your feet happy. You have your shoes, your socks, and your feet. That's the layers you have. There is nothing in between. So you need to make sure that everything works together to make sure that your feet are happy during a full day or a longer event. And I have been using the Safety Jogger Works socks, and I never knew that it was on the packages that it says industrial, professional, tactical. This is just when I put them out here, I noticed it. I've been using those socks since forever. I've been using them for my work, and then I started using them for Airsoft, and I never had to change it because I never had a problem with them. The only thing that I needed to do was replace them when they were done. And that's why I have more, because, well, I want to be prepared if they don't make it anymore, because it is working for me and I don't want to have the hassle to find a new good sock. But as long as they're making them, I'm going to keep buying them. And for this video, I did do some research about socks. And what noticed me was that if you start searching for socks, there's always like sponsored videos about all kinds of brands. I'm not going to mention anyone. And there's a lot of information about materials, lots of information about fancy words that people throw at you. And I feel like they need to use very expensive words to sell socks to people. And in this video, I want to explain why I chose the Safety Joggers over any other pair of socks. And the first and important one to start off with is the price. Well, Safety Joggers are about 10 euros a pack for 3 pairs. And if you start looking at like specifically walking socks or tactical socks, it's like sometimes 20, 30 euros a pair, which is insane for socks. And when I needed good socks for my working boots, those were affordable socks that I chose, and then I went to Airsofting and I just used the same socks and it works and it just keeps working. It's just a big plus on those socks that they are so affordable, but also good. For that price point, can you get good socks? And in my opinion, yes. It's all depending on the material and the branding and how they are made. And those socks are really good. And usually in my gear, I go for quality over quantity. But for socks, I chose to go somewhere in the middle, like quantity and quality, because there's really bad socks out there. And those socks are really good quality for the price that they are. So I can buy more, so I can change them a lot more, because eventually your feet, your socks and your shoes are going to be wet from sweat or water dripping into your shoe. And because your socks are gonna get wet, for me it's an easier thing in my head to just replace the sock by another one than hoping that a special technique with a fancy name will evaporate all the water moisture that is in your shoe. Because don't forget, you're still wearing a waterproof boot, which is not breathable. I have a video about my shoes that I'm using and they are not as breathable, so the moisture is still gonna be inside of your shoe. So eventually your feet are going to get wet. But it is very important to keep your feet as dry as possible, because if your feet starts becoming wet, you will have like soft skin and then you will start having injuries. And we want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Now the comfort, and this is where the Safety Joggers are doing a really good job. I want socks that are very slim around my feet so they don't start rubbing, and then that will become blisters and then again injuries, and you don't want that. And those are really like slim fit around my feet, so that is perfect for me. So the seams, they are in the right places, they are not annoying, and they have reinforced parts at the sole of the sock, like here, and then the back is reinforced and the front is also reinforced. And the other parts, they are made to like be as light and comfortable as possible. And to say it in their own words, Safety Jogger work boot socks seamlessly follow the anatomic shape of every individual foot. This way you will not be bothered by annoying folds that create an uneasy feeling. Uneasy feeling, yeah. But in other words, they're comfortable. The material. That was a difficult one. Like material in clothing and socks, everybody's throwing like, oh, you need to have merino wool, you have that kind of wool, you're not allowed to have this type of wool or this or cotton or synthetic. Safety Jogger socks are made out of 60% cotton, 35% polyester, 3% polyamide and 2% elaston. I know cotton and polyester, and cotton is indeed, if it gets wet, it's not drying as fast as possible, and the polyester will start smelling after a while of using it. but that's why we have a lot of them. So a lot of problems that people are telling, like, oh, this is going to be a problem, you can solve by just buying a few extra pair and switching them over a lot more. And the funny thing is that the information that I read on a website about socks, that they said, oh, you should not use cotton, and the first sock that they recommend is almost the same ingredients, no, materials, that's the word I was looking for. It's almost the same materials as in the safety jogger socks, but they are made for tactical use. I'm like, so that's what I meant at the beginning. They throwing a lot of fancy words at you, and I don't know why. Even with the height of the sock, they have fancy words that I've never heard of before. So I will show you like a picture with all the different heights of the socks. And this one is in between crew and micro crew. I have no idea. I'm just showing you the information that I found on the internet about socks. And that's for me, and that is for me why I like to make videos about products like this. I never know what information that is gonna come my way. And for this, like the size of the sock, I didn't know there was so many different sizes. But apparently there is micro crew and crew. For me, it was important that the sock comes above the shoe. I have like mid-high shoes. And if the sock goes above the shoe will not irritate on my leg from like the rubbing. So the sock is taking care of that. That was for me the most important part. The sizing. This is one of the things that I don't know it's gonna be a problem for you or it's not gonna be a problem. We'll see, and let me know if it is a problem, because they have two different sizes. The first one is 39 to 42 and the other size is 43 till 47. So you need to choose one of those two. For me, it is, I'm in between, I have 42 and a half, so I'm in 42 and 43, but I did choose the 39 to 42 one because, well, eventually they will stretch out a little bit, and then I like to have my socks really snug around my feet, and that is why I chose the smaller one. Because in winter, I actually use a second pair of socks because, well, we moved to Sweden, the climate in winter is a little bit colder than in Belgium. In Belgium, I never had to use anything else than just one pair of socks, but here in winter, it's a little bit colder and we still go out to play airsoft. And then what I do is I have my merino wool socks. I have 2 or 3 pairs of those. I wear those, and then I put my older safety jogger socks that are a little bit more worn out. I put them over the merino wool to have like that extra layer of cold protection. And then my final thoughts, and I didn't think that those were going to be the words I was going to use on my YouTube channel about socks, but yeah, here we go. Final thoughts about socks is that it is important to keep your feet dry, and socks help you to do that. For me, it is replacing the socks more than buying expensive pairs of socks, but keeping your feet dry is the most important part to keep your feet happy. Good shoes, good socks. And important, make sure that the shoe and the sock work together to have your feet really good encapsulated in the boot itself. And in my opinion, the expensive socks are overrated for what we do. And this can be easily done with good socks that are affordable. And those socks, I use them in my everyday life also. So I don't have to buy specific socks to play airsoft. I just keep rotating my socks until they are done, and then I buy new ones, a lot of them, and then I rotate them. And it works really well. And this video about socks, I hope you learned a little bit about socks. Well, at least I learned a lot about socks and a lot of fancy words about materials of socks. So I hope that it was a little bit useful for you for what I'm using to keep my feet dry and happy. And this is the safety jogger work, and it has tactical on it. So now you have to buy it. If you like this video, consider liking the video, and if you want to keep up to date about all the stuff that I'm doing, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to find all the gear that I'm using, it's gonna be on my, well, it is on my website already in a rather structured way. A lot more structured than just following a playlist on YouTube. I want to thank you for being here with me with all the gear that I'm using. Well, this day it was socks, and next time we'll see what it's gonna be on the next video. But thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week for a new video. Bye.